Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 5 tips for tomorrow's horse racing action. Now before we get into that, quickly just want to apologise for not making a video on today's racing. Unfortunately I got home quite late last night from doing my shift at Sky Sports Racing, so I just didn't have the time. But yeah, hopefully we can find some winners for tomorrow's racing. Fancy quite a lot, to be honest with you, and I will of course give a tip at the Punchestown Festival, which will be my long shot, but you have to wait a little bit longer in this video before I reveal it. But yeah, fancy quite a few tomorrow, and fingers crossed we can get some winners for you. So we're going to be starting with my next best tomorrow, which runs in the 220 at Musselburgh. We're going here with a horse called Zookeeper for Joe Fanning and Mark Johnston. Now this horse is currently available at the time recording at 5-2. I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here, and I think this horse has got a great chance in this race at Musselburgh tomorrow. Now this horse will be making his seasonal reappearance off a handicap mark of 67, and I think from what he's shown as a 2-year-old, I think he's better than that, and I think he could improve as a 3-year-old. Some of his form actually as a 2-year-old was okay, which suggests he could be better than a mark of 67. He finished 3rd on debut behind Chindit, who's obviously now a Group 3 winner and did very well last year as a juvenile, and looks like he could be maybe a player in the 2000 guineas this weekend. Also as well, he ran in some fair handicaps, you know, against some much better types, and some of the form of them as well has worked out really well. Now this race tomorrow is a class 6. It will be the weakest race he's contested in yet, and I thought off a mark of 67 he should be really winning this. He's bided by as well, so his pedigree suggests he should get better with age. And also as well, I'm expecting a good prominent ride tomorrow. He's been deployed in those tactics before and he's ran okay in the past, and he's got a good draw to do so in stall 3. I don't think the field in here are up to match. I think it's a really good winnable opportunity for him. Mark Johnston's team have been in really good form, and I could just see Joe Fanning bombing out there tomorrow, controlling the pace and doing enough to hold on to win at the end. So yeah, I think Zookeeper's got a really good chance in this race tomorrow, and I think he should be able to outclass these, because like I said, it is a really weak class 6 contest. We then move to Redcar for the nap of the day, which runs in the 350, where we're going with a horse here called Spirit of Bermuda for Tom Marquand and William Haggis. At the time recording, you can back this horse with Bet365, best price available at 10-3, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here. Now this horse tomorrow is going to be running off the same mark that she did last time, off a mark of 80. Last time we saw her, she made a seasonal reappearance in a decent class 4 handicap at Newmarket. I think that race is going to be one we want to look back on later in the season for a form guide, because I think there's some nice types in there. I think I put up Crossford that day of Charlie Hills, who I thought was a little bit unlucky but rallied strongly in the end, and there were some nice types in there, some good form lines going into that race, and like I said, I think this race will eventually work out quite well. What's interesting as well is this horse is a filly, and she's going to be the only filly in the lineup tomorrow, and I think it's interesting that Mark Johnston isn't racing her against her own sex. He must think that she's better than this. And also as well, William Haggis's team have been in really good form of late. They're currently operating at a 34% strike rate, so the yard have been in good form, and Tom Marquand has been doing well since he's returned from riding in a Deeb in Australia. I just think there's a lot to like about this horse's chances. The yard also as well go very well at Redcar. You normally want to follow their horses, so a lot of things in favour of this horse tomorrow. A draw in stall 9, which isn't a bad draw at Redcar. It isn't bad. It isn't a bad idea to be drawn out wide, so that shouldn't be a problem there. Conditions should be fine, and I think this horse will come on a lot for that run at Newmarket last time out. She wasn't too far beaten at all, and what, like I said, was quite a warm race. I think wasn't treated too harshly in the closing stages, and I do think this horse will be the one to beat tomorrow. So Spirit of Bermuda is in the 350 at Redcar as my nap of the day. We then head back to Musselburgh for the 4 o'clock with an extra tip here, where we're going with a horse called Coley's Koko for Rowan Scott and Nigel Tinkler. Now this horse at the current time recording is available 15-2 bookmakers. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse I thought ran better than the bare result last time out at Nottingham. That was actually a stronger race than what this horse is going to be running in tomorrow. Wasn't disgraced at all, finished close up 5th, and there was some smart form lines for the grade anyway coming into that race. So this week a race tomorrow should be absolutely no problem. The handicapper as well dropped the horse £2 down to a mark of 58, which I thought was fairly generous. Wasn't too far beaten at all, and I think this horse is capable of defying this mark. Going to be the weakest race it's running in quite some time. And also as well, what's ideal tomorrow, it's got a good workable draw at Musselburgh. Ideally you want to be drawn towards the stand side on the sprint track. So there's 8 runners in this race, and she's drawn in, or this horse is drawn in still 6. So a good draw there. Likes to be handy, doesn't normally race too far behind the pace, and Musselburgh can be hard to come through horses. So if this horse can get a good position tomorrow, just tracking the pace or even up in the front wave, I think this horse has got a really good chance of going very close and at least making the frame. And at the prices, I'm willing to take a chance there. I think this horse has got a really good chance in this race, and that's why I'm putting it up as an extra tip. We then head over the RC for my long shot of the day in the feature race there, the Stairs Hurdle, and I'm going to take a flyer on one here with Saldierr. Seems like a few other people fancy him, but I think he does have a good chance, and I'm willing to take a price about him. Now he's currently 25 to 1 with bookmakers in this race, and that's available Paddy Power and Betfair, who offer him 4 places, and I think with the extra places that's not a bad price at all. And now this horse, he has been a little bit frustrating in his career. We all know he's talented on his day. He won here as a 4-year-old at the festival a couple of years ago, and also as well I think he won the Morgiana a couple of years ago too. So we know he is a class horse on his day, but he has been a little bit frustrating at times. But what the bold move here by Willie Mullins is, who trains this horse, and Danny's but for the ride tomorrow, I should have said that at the start. But yeah, what's interesting is that he's going to be stepping up to 3 miles for the first time in his career, and you know what, I think it might just suit him. He's a horse that's been a little bit keen in his past in his races, you know, but I just think if Flooring Porter tomorrow sets a good strong pace, he might be able to settle, and he could be a danger. You might remember they obviously won this race with Forheen a couple of years ago when he was trying 3 miles for the first time. So I think he's got a good chance of outrunning his odds tomorrow. I think the better ground as well does generally suit him. He was last seen running in the Champion Hurdle, but I don't think he would have got involved that day. But I think this race isn't a particularly strong race in my opinion. Now Flooring Porter is the one that they've all got to beat, the reigning Stairs champion, the reigning Stairs hurdle champion I should say. But for me, I think Gavin Cromwell's horses, you can take them on at the moment. Vanillier didn't run a good race today, and it has been hard making all this week, I've noticed, at Punchestown, and I don't know if going right-handed as well is his cup of tea. I think he's a little bit too short in the betting for me, and I'd like to take a flyer in this race, and that's why I'm going with Saldierr. Even though he has won right-handed in the past, I think his class got him through that day when he was progressing through the handicaps. He did win it at Goran, but he has shown a tendency to jump out to his left when going right-handed, which isn't a good thing. I think he could just get found out here, and he might have just had a hard race at Cheltenham. So for me, I think he's a little bit too short in the market. Obviously, you've got to respect him, but I think Saldierr at 25 to 1 with some firms is a great each way bet, you know. Bit of a left field selection, but I think he can go very well and definitely outrun his odds. And I think the step up and trip could eke out quite a bit of an improvement. So that's why he's going to be my long shot tomorrow. We then head back to this side of the RSC with my tip at Chelmsford, an extra tip here, the feature race there, the listed fillies race. And I'm going to go here with a bit of an outsider called Rosie Powers for Holly Doyle and Archie Watson. Now at the top of the betting you've got Happy Romance, who to me, I'm not sure about her. I think she's a little bit too short, you know, and I wasn't blown away with her in the race at Newbury when she ran in the Fred Darling. You know, obviously she was very progressive last season, and she did us a couple of good turns on the YouTube channel, but I wonder if she was maybe a more precocious 2-year-old and she might struggle at 3. And I'm going to go with Rosie Powers here, who I think at 12 to 1 is a bit of a big price in the market. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse has been progressing quite well, but has been a little bit frustrating a couple of times and isn't the most straightforward, and she should come a little bit of a warning. Now she won at Wolverhampton on debut very well, but she was a little bit green that day. She still showed her greenness when she finished 3rd at Lingfield, when arguably she should have won the race. Holly Doyle was travelling lovely on her, and it looked like it was going to be how many lengths the horse was going to win by, but then she seemed to run green in the final stages, which just didn't help her. and in the end was collared late on by a couple of horses. Now those two horses that did get involved have actually got some smart form behind them. The winner had won on her previous start, and the second place horse went on to win on her next start. So the form was upheld, and I think if she'd had her mind more focused on the job, Rosie Powers would have won that race quite easily in the end. And also as well, if you go back and watch the last race she ran in at Bath in a listed race when she finished 4th, she did everything wrong. Luke Morris, who's known as obviously the sniper, always throws the kitchen sink at his horses. God, he was shaking her up really early on, and at one point she looked like she was going to finish in the last half of the field, but somehow he managed to get her out, weave her in and out of traffic, and cajole her, and yeah, got 4th place in the end, running on really strongly. Now that race at Bath, I should say, was over 5 furlongs, and she's stepping up to 6 furlongs tomorrow, where she's shown some of her best form. And also as well, pedigree suggests she should probably benefit for stepping up in trip, and I think she really at 12-1, she's a bit of a big price here. I'm hoping Holly can get a good prominent ride tomorrow, maybe just sit behind the pace, drawn in stall 3, so a good draw to attack. And I think this horse has got a good chance of definitely outrunning their odds. I know Archie Watson's team have been a little bit in and out, but they are having a lot of placed horses, so it's not like they're running too badly. But I'm sure he'll be amongst the winners again very soon. And I think this horse, Rosie Powers, has a very good chance of making the frame. And I would like to take a couple on at the top of the market, so that's why I'm going with her. So yeah, they're the 5 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you're still enjoying these videos, please remember to subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do. That's the only place you can do so on social media. My handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.